Hey everybody, it's KHANTENT! Oh
Yes.
boy, it's me and best guy ever as usual, but we're also joined by Tom once again to talk about his favorite, BEASTARS.
Not a furry, I promise.
Evermore on
I'll
the fence,
believe
though.
you
Yeah.
never. So, the last 3 episodes came out. Big, exciting action climax to the first season of this show with a, we'll get it right out of the way, second season announcement at the end of the last episode.
Indeed.
Yeah,
Indeed.
pretty stoked about that. I honestly wasn't expecting it because they
Me
didn't
neither.
do anything more with Hoseki no Kuni, so I figured they would just be a one and done kind of deal. But
I guess has this show been that much more I mean, it is surprisingly, as we've all been saying, it's surprisingly like everybody's top-rated show for the season as far as I can tell. And I guess it's just been that much more successful than Hoseki no Kuni. I don't know. I would assume it's something like that.
You know, it could have to do with Netflix as well, because this is a Netflix
ooh, that's true.
original,
Probably
at
has
least in
some
the West.
Netflix
So,
money.
yeah, maybe
Okay,
they ordered a
okay.
second season or something. Even though I don't think it's actually run on American Netflix yet, right? Like,
No, it's coming out sometime this year. They're gonna release it dubbed on
Okay.
U.S. Netflix, as far as I'm aware.
so this show has.
Interesting.
I mean, I think this show will inevitably get way more popular because it's wrapped up. The final, unlike Cautious Hero, the final score has gone up on Mal as of the show concluding, which is always a good sign. Generally, when a show ends, you can look at its Mal score, either go up or down dramatically to know how people liked the ending. And this was a case where it went up, and the show hasn't even been widely available, as I just said. We've been watching fan subs, I think, this whole time. So, yeah, I mean, there's only up to go from here. So I hope that a second season is successful and comes. I mean, we already know it's coming out, so there's nothing to fucking be hopeful about. Just
Interestingly,
jack
they
their dicks.
put that little like stinger at the end to show like more like drug use, like hinting at. I presume this is just wild speculation that we're gonna get more answers on like the initial mystery of like who killed the alpaca guy or whatever. I would assume,
Yeah.
and it seems to be someone close to Lugosi. Who could it be? I guess we'll find out.
What if fucking? Well, you know, maybe I guess I shouldn't even speculate. It just hit me, but then I was like, ooh.
Well, you don't. You
That
can
is
speculate.
a spoiler. Nobody should know. Well, I mean, I
I
assume
know.
that
Read the
Tom
manga,
already
cowards.
is well aware. My
Well,
first
obviously.
question for you, Tom, is how true these last 3 episodes were to the manga. Was anything reshuffled in order to have a more satisfying conclusion within this arc?
All the major beats from the end of this arc were pulled from the manga. There was a little bit of shuffling around to cut down on time. And I'm not 100% because I binged everything in one day when I read the manga, so like it was all a blur. But I believe they moved up the reveal of Legacy admitting to Haru that he is the one who attacked her all the way back in the first episode. I think the manga waited a little bit longer to reveal that. But I thought moving it up to here was a good choice because leaving that hanging probably throughout
I would have been pissed if they
Season
hadn't
one
done that.
would have
Yeah.
sucked.
Yeah,
You
agreed.
know?
Agreed.
And
So-
I mean, not only did it make for a satisfying emotional conclusion to this season, but the scene of him like holding her the same way as that day, and like it's the reflection
very
in
well
the
done.
mirror that takes up the back wall of the room.
Yeah.
Really smart.
mean,
yeah,
I gotta
so-
say, guys, this is the most artistic usage of a sex mirror since American Psycho. I mean, let's just put it right out there. Incredible work, everybody. Way to go.
I think Studio Orange really needs to like get that credit because like a lot of the composition in this show and in Hoseki no Kuni were done by them. It's not like they're just
right, right. They can't
Well,
rip it
in
from the
both
manga
cases-
for this. Yeah.
I mean, they completely redid the entire art style of the show. I mean, for starters, it being CG. Both of these shows, they did not by any means try to make a moving manga aesthetic show. They purely made anime, which is what we want. Like, for me, original anime is usually the best because of the fact that it is created with more like a filmic sense right from the beginning. But when you make an adaptation that really like takes each scene and says like, how can we do this in film using the techniques of film to make it better? That's always exciting. And BEASTARS did it from start to finish, man. Artsy shit all the way through. Great fucking presentation. Was not disappointed.
Very much agreed. Very much agreed. Despite my initial concerns, I mean, now that we're done with the 12 episodes, I can say that this was way better than I thought it was going to be going into it, and had a satisfying conclusion. I'm still kind of. I mean, I see the way things are expanding, and I want to talk about like we had a lot of thoughts about like, oh, what is this show really about? Is it about like racism? Is it about like, I don't know, fucking class struggles or something? I think I get it now. I'm starting to, and it's much simpler, and I like it more than I thought I was going to. But we can get to that after we talk about what the episodes contain.
Oh, sure. Well, I mean, so at the end of the last one, Haru had been kidnapped by this lion gang, the lion yakuza, the Shishigumi, and immediately our boy Legoshi just storms. He spends a while locating the place, storms it fucking Spike Spiegel style, with his panda friend. Which, by the way,
we forgot to mention the panda guy. Goddamn,
literally the coolest guy ever.
Yeah, that was a big
so fucking sick. Yeah,
major goof character design. I was a huge fan of him from the second I saw him. It's just that he only ever shows up for these very short periods.
He steals the show when he's on screen, though. I mean, he's great.
They spend more time with him in the manga, but obviously they kind of like speed it up.
You know who he is? He's literally the vegan Gaines of BEASTARS. He goes full beast mode with the power of vegan lifestyle.
What's the name of that guy from fucking Scott Pilgrim? That's his first.
Oh yeah, that number 3 guy. Yeah, vegan man.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
I mean, I was getting scared that he was gonna die, like that he was just gonna be one of those, oh, I showed up, did exposition, and now my time is over kind of thing in the big Yakuza raid. Only because of how insane it seems that Legoshi could take out all these lions by himself. How do you guys feel about this? The action scene is great.
The action scene is obviously wonderful. Okay, they slip in that line, and it's not terrible. They slip in this bit about like Legoshi out where he turns to the camera and he says, it's not just that I'm a wolf, it's that I'm filled with like this instinct, this motivation that gives me the strength beyond these guys, and it's that like I'm fine. I love Haru. I'm here to save Haru. That like gives him the push. There's a cheesy way to interpret that. That's like, okay, this is bullshit. Like love won't just save you all the time. Blah blah blah. But I choose to interpret this as the slightly more reasonable interpretation of Legoshi. All this time, he's been implied to be insanely strong and powerful. Yes, the lions look bigger than him, but I'm choosing to believe he's got some lean muscle going on, that his killer instincts are sharper. He's got that dark personality going on. And when he activates beast mode, he is, in fact, more lethal than these hardened Yakuza, even though he's a fucking kid, basically.
Well, I mean, something to keep in mind in the scene is that, like, he doesn't really fight anybody except for the boss guy, the top floor. He just kind of, like, tosses them out of the way while the panda guy cleans up the mess after him. And there are multiple times where he would have died.
What about that first guy with the gun? Now, it's true. He manhandles the guy, and he shoots the guy's ear in their first confrontation, which was a badass moment. Absolutely loved it. That's when he first starts to go beast mode. And yeah, the guy turns the tables on him, but that was more of a inexperience in fighting thing. Legoshi seemed to be the more powerful between the two, despite Legoshi being a kid, basically, and this guy being a veteran.
I thought that was part of it, was that they might have been older, that these lions are past their prime. Legoshi might be in his prime. He is even taller than them. I'm just wondering, like, I want to call up Tier Zoo and be like, can a great gray wolf beat a lion? Like, that's my most... Because it is kind of important in this show that we understand how powerful everybody is relative to one another. It's important to the themes, you know?
That's true.
So, I'm just wondering,
they sort of go into that later in the manga. I don't know if they'll touch on it in season 2, but, like, they kind of alluded to it a little bit in this, is that, like, the whole, like... him saying like you have to use your jaws, like that's like the strongest thing a wolf has. His hand-to-hand combat, he's not going to be able to match something like a cat. But if he used his jaws, or his species.
Whereas everyone knows that the ultimate weapon of the panda, the bamboo crossbow, is the ace in the hole that every panda has up their sleeve at any moment.
Dude, they're almost extinct. They gotta start thinking outside the box to stay alive, right?
Absolutely true.
Or just the guns that also
there's just
have.
Guns. That's true too.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny that like only the first guy that in the building seems to have a gun. Like everyone else is just like, I guess we'll just fisticuffs.
I assume this is that kind
boss man who didn't pull his gun out until after he had left.
I don't quite understand the mode. This in Japan, in anime, a lot of the time, because like Japan is so restrictive on guns. There's always like this thing about the Yakuza, like they use like lower level, less deadly weapons. And, like, to an extent, I can accept that. But when the first guy has a gun, and the final boss who pulls it out after he's already almost fucking died and would have died if Lugosi didn't spare him, it's a little bit... Okay, it's a little strange.
It's like Power Rangers when Zordon says you can only use more force once it's been used against you first. You can't escalate conflict. That's how guns work in all anime.
Right. It's the Batman rule of you can't kill him or you'll be just as bad as him unless he does it first. Something like that, I'm sure.
I mean, I think it comes down to, like, BEASTARS, while it has really good-looking and fun and, like, emotionally cathartic action scenes, it is by no means an action show. And, like, I think that when we watch an action-focused show, we really want the fights to make sense, to give it a feeling of grounding and stakes. You know, like, there's no way I thought Lugosi was in trouble raiding this place unless somebody was going to come help him, since he's the main character. This is, you know, these are just a bunch of random lion mooks, essentially. Like, you know, I guess it didn't need to be any more complex than he just comes in and beats the shit out of everybody. It was fun. It was cool. Only raised a few questions, but they're not important questions in my mind.
Even reading it, I was like, this is kind of weird that, like, no experience, like, school kid can just come in and just destroy these guys. But, like, the whole point of the scene is to kind of, like, solidify, you know, his and Haru's relationship. Because up until this point, Haru still feels like she has more feelings for Louis than Legacy, and, like, this just kind of cements the fact that, like, her feelings change, realizes how much he cares about her, and vice versa. So that was, like, the narrative point, right? So all the other things of, like how did he fight Yakuza don't really matter as much to what the scene's point
when
is.
you're reading a battle shonen and they go into, like, the battle systems and stuff, then you can care. And stuff like, all this is just in service of the emotional weight of the situation. So, like you said, I agree. Wasn't that big deal. And it was good to see Lugosi kick some ass.
Yeah, I wish they had just, like, made that scene slightly brighter. It was a little, like...
It was very dark, that's true.
Yeah, it wasn't the easiest to always follow all the action as much as I wanted to. But, like, I thought it looked good. It was choreographed well. Panda guy coming in with the saves was always fun. I love Panda Man. I can't remember. Goki, you said, right?
Goheen?
Yeah, Goheen, I believe, is his name.
Yeah.
It's fucking cool. I like how they're like punching him in the nose, because I know that's like his weak point. He's still like tanking through it anyway, like a badass. 10 out of 10, super sick.
But the crowning moment of the whole thing is our boy Lugosi tore that motherfucker's neck out.
Dude, it was so sick.
And it was interesting though, because, like, he I guess he spared him. He deliberately did not kill him. He went as hard as he could without committing murder. And I was a little bit like, on the one hand, I was proud of him when I thought he did kill the guy. But on the other hand, when he spared him, I'm like, yeah, that's what Lugosi would do. He would go all the way to 99 without going to 100. And then our boy Louis shows up and gets him right through the fucking head, which was, I gotta say, it was instantly made it way more interesting of a resolution to the arc, because, like, it could have been like, I thought him, you know, pointing the gun at Lugosi, it's like, oh, is Panda gonna show up and save him at the last second? No, Louis here. Louis changed his mind. He kills a man in cold blood with no remorse whatsoever. Does not give a fuck at all. And he's just like, yeah, this guy's an evil man. I killed him, and we don't know what happened to him after that. Tom does, I assume.
There's a scene, I think they might have cut it from the anime, where, like, before Louis even leaves, he's, like, gets confronted by the tiger guy, and he's like, where are you going, you asshole? And then he pulls the gun on him. He's like, get the fuck out of my way. You're just like, whoa, holy shit.
Okay.
Interesting.
Well, let's talk about the ramifications of Louis there for a second, because everything that we'd seen up to this point. So Louis didn't go with Lugosi to save Haru, even though, like, they had a closer, longer relationship. But then, after the whole battle has ended, Louis now is there and does in fact save Lugosi, and by extension probably Haru as well, with the gun, you know, kills the guy, etc., etc. So it seemed like everything that Louis had been doing in the previous episode, in episode 9 and whatnot, was he had met the mayor, and the mayor was like, Louis, you're, like, from this underground, like, animal trafficking thing. We're gonna wipe the slate clean. We're gonna save you from your history, and you'll be like me. You're gonna be brought into the light. You have to get your hands dirty. You have to be aware of the dirtiness of the world, but you will be able to live like as a symbol of the goodness of the world. And even though you know how dirty it is underneath, it seems like he's just accepted that like it wasn't meant to be. And I suppose, did he go to save Haru specifically, and that's what made him give it up? That he's like willing to dirty his hands and he's willing to remain part of this world.
I think it's that he's doing this in the shadows. You know, like Lugosi already took out everybody basically. He just showed up and killed that guy to make sure he's dead. There's no reason Louis would have to be like anybody would have to know that he was involved with this or that he did anything. It's like he you know, I have to imagine that his mentality is more like, I'm going to take matters into my own hands from the darkness now, you know?
I mean, you're right, but that was the weird... I thought he was going to flee or, like, kill those other guys who showed up, but after that scene, like, the other two lions, or the Shishigumi, walk in and they say, hey, who are you? And I assume they'd start shooting, but he says, I'm Louis, I killed this... Or I'm number 4, obviously referencing his, like, slave days or whatever. I am, like, a product or whatever. Like, eat me, boys, eat me. And frankly, I did not know what was going through his mind, and I couldn't tell. Any thoughts, did you? I guess Tom probably knows too much.
Yeah, I mean, my thought was like, is he gonna take over the Shishigumi and be their new shadow leader?
That'd be interesting.
And reform them to some other thing? Well, I mean, we get a teaser at the end of the season that shows like a trash can full of popped pills, and then first person perspective on what seems to be Louis, because. You know, Lugosi's like, oh, everybody was looking for you, and he's walking around in kind of a daze, unless that was somebody else and it was just a errant tease. I have no idea.
It definitely could have been.
It's obviously a mystery on purpose, but
the only if it was Louis, I would have expected Lugosi's reaction to be stronger. But maybe this is like a flash forward of like a few weeks, and Louis has come back and things have been smoothed over. So it could be. I suppose we'll see when it happens. I suspect that it's tying into the whole carnivores killing people thing, but I don't know. I guess we'll just have to see. So I mean, I'm sure obviously the mystery of Louis, who's basically our third main character, will obviously pervade and be one of the main things.
There's so many mysteries left at this point. It's really amazing that this show even found a way to have like a satisfying first season ending by just resolving like the more, I guess, the core emotional narrative of the arc, which was that of Lugosi and Haru and his love for her, whereas there's just tons of other shit going on that we still have really no clue about. I wouldn't be surprised if even in the manga there are still plenty of unsolved mysteries.
Ooh, yes. The thing is, as the show goes, it just keeps introducing more and more stuff, you know? Because like the stuff that's in like 158 of the manga right now, which is where it's at, it's just like... Everything that we know about right now, for the most part, has been resolved, but there's so much more that gets introduced. So, like, the second season, if it follows the manga, is probably going to focus mostly on figuring out who killed Tem, the guy from the beginning, as well as, like, kind of showing Louis and, like, how he fits back into the story and things like that. So I think that'll probably be the main focus of season 2. It'll be interesting to see how they condense things and shuffle stuff around. So maybe they'll end up moving some things. But there's a bunch of characters that are about to start doing a lot of interesting shit. So, I'm stoked to see it in anime form.
Indeed.
Amazing.
Indeed. I mean, why don't we talk a little bit about Haru and her arc? Oh, we've been very misogynistic here, not thinking about Haru's experience of being kidnapped. From the start, I think it was episode 9, where we see, like, Haru's perspective of having been kidnapped. She's, like, in her own head, is, like, writing this will, knowing she's about to be murdered. Yeah, episode 10 or whatever. Where she's having this experience of accepting her death, basically, and we get the little flashback, and we're now kind of learning. We're seeing the flashback we've been waiting for as to why she's such a slut. And, I mean, it ties into many things, and that's kind of what it boils down to. Of her whole life, she was not only a dwarf rabbit from a family of dwarf rabbits, but the smallest in her family. Everything she did, she was always told by her parents that, you're delicate, you're in danger all the time. Everything could go horribly bad at any moment. Always be on your guard, like never relax yourself. And growing up, having that worldview, all the bigger animals always do these nice things for her, will help her out with everything. They give her these, like, because they know she's delicate and sensitive, everyone is so eager to do things for her, but it is kind of a burden to them, so she's never on the same level as anybody else. She's always lower than. She's something to be pitied and helped because she's so, ineffective at doing anything on her own. So when she's in middle school, the way that she finds equal footing with someone is when a person likes her sexually and wants to have sex. At that moment, she discovered that's a way she's not just something to be pitied. She actually has something to offer in that exchange. Yeah. And you know what? Frankly speaking, I mean, all throughout history, I think we talked about this in another episode, like, women have been smaller than men. I mean, they could kill them, but, I mean, what's the main tool a woman has over a man in general? Sexuality and seduction and, you know, political control through those mechanisms. So it's classic. It makes perfect sense. And once I saw that, I didn't think I would, but I was like, I developed a newfound respect for Haru and her slutty ways, and I liked her more after hearing it. That was good.
It was certainly a good explanation, just insofar as like the reason I think that, you know, a lot of people, particularly women, will, you know, I think it's sort of a common reason, you know, not necessarily in a literal sense of like, oh, you're small and frail, so people always treat you different, but like just that idea of being equal in this one way of like, oh, this is a way I can make other people happy and they will look to me as somebody who did something, you know, for them, as opposed to the other way around. Yeah, I think that's definitely like a common sentiment.
It was very mature. It was very mature. Yeah. I appreciated it. It made me, specifically the sentiment of like finally feeling useful to other people. That, I mean, I can resonate that in a big way. It's I also hate to be a burden and always want to be useful to people, and to find something like that, I can very much relate to. Yeah. It was pretty cool. Yeah.
I mean, I think it's not only just being useful. It was even more than that, in the fact that, like, because she's so small and because she looks so young, everyone treated her like a child. And, like, you know, when having sex, that's like a very adult thing to do. So no longer anyone treated her like a child. Like, she felt an equal in this one way, where in every other situation, she always kind of had this handicap almost in terms of just like social interaction.
That makes sense. When you're on your back, height is no longer a factor.
That's very true. Very true.
As I'm sure Tom can tell us all about.
Oh, yeah.
Well, go on.
It's interesting when I think about it, the dynamic between these two and the whole rescue scene. Because, I mean, essentially we've got a big old hero saving the damsel in distress is how this ends. You know, a very traditional type of story. And, you know, this story really does, like, kind of lean in on very traditional ideas of, like, masculinity and femininity in terms of what do I mean by traditional? Just like, it's really looking at like the instincts of these two groups of people.
That's
and,
for
like,
sure.
You know, why people. I guess it's exploring how you innately will do certain things based on who you are. But then there's also the element of like, how do I interpret who I am, and what does it mean for me that I am this person? You know, it doesn't mean I have to be like the cliche of what that thing is, but I can still, you know, use those instincts and those natural things I have to try to, you know, achieve things that I want personally. And so, you know, both of these characters, like, they have to explore this dynamic in a way that is just so much richer than it would. Like, if you told me the plot of, oh, and then the girlfriend gets kidnapped, so he has to go rescue her and saves her, and so they fuck. It's like, okay, well, that's literally like a fantasy cliche, but the whole point of it is that we are in the characters' heads through every step of that, exploring their feelings with regards to that situation, you know, particularly the part afterwards where, like, Legosi is literally afraid that she's going to think, oh, he saved me, now I have to fuck him, you know?
Yeah,
like, he's, like, worried about that dynamic because it's so apparent that, like, that's the situation they're in, that's exactly what it's like. But in her mind, meanwhile, she's like, yeah, that is the situation. I do want to fuck you because you saved me. And when she said to him, there is nothing you could do tonight that would be a mistake, I was just like, my man.
Well,
like,
you're
end
so
zone
right.
Dance, goddamn.
And I love the scene. I mean, right afterward of him like visualizing himself on an escalator, going past all these little. He's like, oh, there's the first date, there's the handhold, there's the kiss. Right, I'm going all the way to the top, baby. We're not stopping at any of these. And then he's like, what even is an escalator? Because I don't think they exist in the world. That was pretty good. But I mean, okay, this right here is like the main theme of the entire story, as I understand it now. And the scene, of course, where they're like, we can't get home, our train left, we have to stay at a hotel. A love hotel's the only one that'll take interspecies couples. And, you know, of course, Legosi isn't just going to sleep on the street. They've got to go in there together. And I mean, that scene and that whole the instinctual element that you're talking about. I mean, when they're they're cuddling up, they're kind of relaxing and getting undressed and snuggling up together, and then as they're starting to feel each other up, and there's that moment where this took me a minute to stop laughing at, when Haru, now up to this point, it's been Lugosi who's had to repress these instincts to devour Haru. He didn't even know if he was saving her because he just has these feral instincts to hunt and kill her and she's his prey, or if he loves her. He's still grappling with this. So but in this moment, it's Haru herself who this is her survival instinct or something, to shove her arm into his mouth, because it's her instinct to be devoured by Lugosi. Or perhaps instinct is wrong. I think what they were trying to say is, like, their bodies feel how this relationship is supposed to go. She's supposed to be eaten by the wolf. That's how the story is supposed to go. Yeah. And so she can't resist. I mean, this got to be one of the most retarded things I've ever seen in my life.
That scene was pretty weird. I wasn't sure. Like, I was really expecting, like, okay, like, is this something rabbits do? Like, is this one of their things?
It doesn't make sense.
Do they throw themselves into their prey's mouth?
No, they're not like lemmings who run off a cliff. Okay, but I get what it's getting at.
About that part.
I feel like it's like she did literally do that. I feel like that was meant to be a little less literal and more like metaphorical, in the sense of, like, this is the way these relationships are traditionally supposed to go between a wolf and a rabbit or whatever. Like, it's so clear that that's what they're setting up with every facet. And now it's like, so he's been super aggressive, been wanting to eat her, and now they're being like, even on her side as well, she has this thing about her body tells her that she is prey. And, to be fair, we've seen her be, like, weirdly submissive and, like, weirdly accept death before. So is this so different than something like that? Perhaps not. Perhaps not. I don't know.
It's definitely a weird way to kind of, like, dissolve that, not dissolve the tension, but, like, wrap up the scene, because, like, it's anime, so you're clearly just like, all right, they're not gonna fuck this early in the game. The fact that they're even going this far in season
I thought they were gonna do it, man. I really thought they were gonna do it. I thought my boy was gonna make it all. I'm proud that he at least grabbed chest.
He did.
I'm really happy.
He's gotten farther than, like, 99% of all anime protagonists.
Well, and it felt like a real sexual situation up until that moment when she puts her arm in his mouth, and, like, maybe that's why it particularly was, like, disappointing, just to be like, oh, okay, so, of course in anime we expect something to go wrong, but this is a new one, Like,
yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Haven't seen the sex get stopped by this, but I was really glad that they had made it.
That's how it was, like, deflated in the manga.
Really?
I remember watching that scene and being like, did that really happen?
At least it ties into, like, the themes. It's relevant to what they're trying to set up. So,
and it's like this isn't the first time that, like, Haru's been, like, subtly grappling with her instincts as well, because, like, they show like in like the third or fourth episode that, like, she's constantly, like, on the verge of running away, just sitting near him.
What was she saying when she was captive by the lions? I mean, we kind of skipped over that, but there's these horrific scenes of her, like, being forced on the ground naked as the dude's, like, grabbing her tail, and it was quite unsettling.
He was trying to embarrass and, like, terrify her because it would make the meat taste better, basically.
That scene is a lot more graphic in the manga, as one would probably expect.
Really?
Oh,
yeah.
Is he more violent with her, or I'm just curious in what way?
He's a lot more grabby.
I see.
Yeah, that scene in the anime, like, I thought that was a great turnaround when she gets up and she's just like, well, look, oh, you want to make me taste better? Well, I'm not afraid, so you can eat me, but I'm gonna fucking taste like shit.
I mean,
you,
I love the whole setup of that. I love that it culminated in that, but it's that in her mind, she's, like, writing this will, she's accepting her death, she's thinking about Louis, like, the only boy I ever loved, and then, like, in the world of her mind, like, in walks uninvited Lugosi, and upon thinking about Lugosi, she's like, fuck this, I'm gonna fight back, I'm not just gonna go quietly. And it's when a character takes active action like that, then I begin to actually like them. So Haru has jumped up several notches.
That was such a fucking cool moment too.
Yeah,
because it's just like, she's
I don't expect her to fight him off, but just do what you can.
No, but it's just like don't. That's, like, one of the things that I've always, like, been confused about in media, and always wondered how I would react in a situation, like in a life or death situation, when, like, your death is certain, like, why not go out swinging,
Yep.
Like, if it's gonna be the exact same thing, you might as well fucking, like, go out like a badass instead of just, like,
who knows, maybe you'll live, always count on the idea that maybe you'll
fucking
live.
Wolf Boy will bomb in and save me when I'm about to die. I don't know if I can know. Who knows?
Yeah, cool fucking scene. Everything about the relationship between those two and the way it was advanced in these 3 episodes, I was very happy with. I was getting worried when Juno was like shoving her off and being like, "I've got Wolf Boy now, it's all me," and I was like, is this gonna turn into one of those scenes where Haru's gonna be like, "Oh well, I realized that we shouldn't be together because our species are different." She's going to go off and mope, which is, she starts to do that, but then Lugosi catches up with her and is like, "Look, I don't care about that bitch." And I love that he said, like, he was like, "The problem with me is my personality. Like, if I were dragged into the light, it would be no easier for me." Like, Juno sees him as like this. Is he Juho or Juno?
Juno.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Juno sees him as like this hero who everybody needs to recognize for how great he is, and she wants to be with him, and they want to be recognized together. She's like, we're going to be these canines who are always like doing good for the fucking world. We're going to be helping the fucking future together as this power couple. And Lugosi's like, look, I can't, like, if you put me in the spotlight, I'm not going to be any less socially awkward. I'm not going to be less myself, myself is the one who likes this fucking rabbit girl. And I felt a lot of respect for Lugosi in that moment as somebody who myself does not care what society says. Obviously I go around wearing pajama pants, looking like a fucking, like a fool, catching looks. But then people are like, "Hey man, those are some cool pants." And it's like, I know. That's why I'm wearing them. Why aren't you wearing cool pants, motherfucker? So,
Damn.
I feel like Lugosi is, he's a good, cool guy for not caring what society thinks. He just wants what he wants.
That's true.
Before we go on, I just want to correct that I was wrong on 2 counts.
Oh, yeah.
The confession about when he was eaten, or like when he was saying, like, "I'm the one who's trying to eat you," that did happen at the same point in the manga, and that scene does end in the same way. I just looked it up.
Okay, good to know.
I'm an idiot.
Well, I mean, episode 12 in general is like dealing with that ramifications of like of Haru weirdly, offering himself to be eaten or whatever, so there it like creates that little bit of disharmony between her and Lugosi, and then of course Juno gets reintroduced, and Juno from the beginning has represented this like the obvious like genetic or like destinational, like destiny-wise choice for Lugosi to like obviously go with. But see, there was a line I really loved, and this will bring me to like the main theme, because I've cracked the code that should have been obvious from the start as to what this story is about entirely. And we already said it once, but I'll say it again. So the line where Lugosi says that despite him and Juno obviously being a perfect pair, and I think Digi said this before, he says that, like, I have this dark personality. And the way that he's saying that is so clearly to contrast that, like, on the surface level, everything about them looks correct. But once you get a little bit deeper than just like their species or their genes or anything, Lugosi knows he's not the kind of guy who is going to be a match for Juno. And you gotta love how like every character says while he's saying that throughout like all these episodes is like, obviously Lugosi and Juno should be together. They look perfect. But with Lugosi, I love how subtle and underplayed this line was, where he's just like, no, like, have you ever met me? Like, obviously I'm not a match for her. It's not even a question in his mind that him and Haru are, like, a better match. And which brings me to the whole point of this whole series. We were speculating, like, is this about racism? Is this about blah, 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 all this shit? No, it's not about any of that. This series, the fact that it's about animals has no relation to any of that societal stuff. It's only about exactly one thing, which is what you were born to be, overcoming like some destiny that was programmed for you, and the common shonen trope of like choosing your own destiny and doing what you want to do. Everything in the series is about carnivores are programmed to be this way. Herbivores.
I'm surprised that's the quote you chose to represent that, because there's
there
also a line when Lugosi is remembering playing with the rhinoceros beetle or whatever, the Kabuto.
Right.
And he says to his friend, like, I'm just trying to figure out like what I'm supposed to be. As this creature that I am, what am I supposed to be? And his friend's just like, aren't we all thinking that? Like,
you're right.
Isn't that literally everybody? And it's
you're
like,
right.
Yeah, it is literally everybody. That's,
And
in spite of the wolf that I am, can I be a man?
It's a great question. It's the question that we all, in fact, are asking ourselves as we go through life. What are we supposed to be doing? Where are we supposed to be in life? Who are we supposed to be with? Et cetera, et cetera. And, Lugosi has just figured out what he wants to do. And I love that in this final scene, as he's kind of chasing Haru up at the end of episode 12, he says, like, Haru, as I was saving you, even I didn't know what I was meant to, like, if I was chasing you for prey or to protect you, but I figured it out. My fangs and my claws, they exist to protect you. This is what I'm supposed to be doing. And, you know, even if, like, God or destiny didn't decide what Lugosi was supposed to do, he has decided. He has found what he wants to do with his life. And it sounds like he's sticking with it. So
I think it's like such a great way to end the season, because it shows like that's like the first part of his arc like done, right? Because like the whole beginning is just him like having no motivation, just kind of like being very passive and just letting things happen to him. And so the ending's so good because it closes that off and it leaves both characters in a great position going forward with this new information. How are they going to change? What new challenges will they encounter, and how will this new perspective change those encounters?
See, and I like how mature they are, because Lugosi's one of his last lines is that, like, I'm going to get stronger so I don't give in to my urges or shit like that. And so we're not saying, like, oh, if you have the power of love, reality goes away and then it's anything you want it to be. It's like, I was born this way, I have these issues, but we will find ways to overcome them and to, like, do whatever the fuck we want to do. And that's what being a man's all about, as far as I'm concerned.
Broader shoulders.
Exactly. And I love that, I mean, if we were to compare the way that Lugosi acts in episode 1 versus episode 12, it is massively different. Like, even though there's never been, like, a big revelation, a huge change in his character where it's like, oh, I'm this way now. It's like, just through watching him, put himself in situations where in order to help people or defend people or be even bigger than sort of himself, he has to do all kinds of crazy shit. He's had to be in all these fights. He fucking raided a Yakuza place at the end. He ended up in a love hotel with Haru. It's just like he's come to a point where, like, and I think this is basically what growing up is about, and how a lot of people do eventually come out of their shells is out of basically necessity. It's if you put yourself in situations where you have to grow and adapt, that is a good way to grow and adapt. And he's just kind of being forced to find answers to these questions, to enter this adulthood, and whether he really has any idea what he's doing or not, the world is pushing him.
That's well said. And I think that they say about about stories of adolescence, or just all stories in general are about the most interesting parts of the respective characters' lives, right? And as you said, those stories are almost always about adversarial situations or whatever. So like in basically every story, we're seeing like the characters come up against, like when you've got like a young-ish man or whatever, it's going to be his like coming of age tale most of the time. The world is now presenting him challenges. It's interesting to watch him overcome. We can largely assume that his life was relatively uninteresting, and he had these issues of being a carnivore and being too strong and all those things. But now we're seeing the pedals to the metal, and it's time to see what the fuck he can make of this life and these unique challenges that he has as a dude in this world with this particular birth and whatnot. And it's been a pretty great ride so far.
Yeah. I think one of the interesting things too is like with Juno and like Juno's character, because like it'd be really easy for a show like this, like in a story like this, to have Juno just be infatuated with the main character as well, to be an obstacle. Just like the typical kind of love triangle thing where it's like there are two girls interested in the main character. Who will he choose? Well, we already know, but like this character's just there as an obstacle for us, the viewer.
Right.
And like as soon as she's out of the way, she just joins the Spurned Women's Club,
It's very interesting, the way that the show, like, everybody else in the show posits it as a love triangle, but as Nate pointed out, Lugosi doesn't even acknowledge that. Like, he at no point shows an interest in
the
Juno.
Interesting thing with the whole Lugosi-Juno thing is that even, like Lugosi is just, like, so tunnel vision on Haru at this point. Like, he just knows that this is the girl he wants to be, that, like, he just dismisses Juno outright. But, like, even from Juno's perspective, this is a terrible idea. Right, because the only reason she wants to be with Lugosi is because it improves her clout and helps her become the B-star. She just thinks like this is what you're supposed to do. We look good together. Like she barely knows him. She doesn't know anything about Lugosi at all. All she knows is that like he's a wolf and he has this weird rabbit obsession. And like she's determined like he's gonna be my guy. And so like by having the relationship end here, it's not like she loved this main character for all the right reasons, but he just didn't love her back, and that's the end of her story. There's more places they can go, and without spoiling anything, her character does continue.
I was going to say, as of right now, because for us, as the viewers who have seen this much and nothing else, like, right now, the fact that Louis is missing, like, as of right now, she's like the #1 candidate, like, for the B-star, frankly, because she's the only character who's expressed an interest, just except for Louis, and he's just gone right now. So she's very much got her own arc waiting for us, as far as I can tell. So we'll be interested to see how that goes next season. I suspect Louis will come back and perhaps complicates that.
Yeah,
but
by the way, here's another thing. One more thing that did bother me about these 3 episodes is so Haru goes missing and immediately our boy he's on the prowl. He goes and finds her. Louis is now missing. Lugosi hasn't mentioned it yet. I don't know if he's just not worried. I don't know if it's because he just punched that nigga and
he heard about it
not on
from
good
a
terms,
dude.
but yeah, I just thought it was funny that he didn't, like, there was no urgency to go find
to
Louis.
be fair,
I understand from the dramatic standpoint of the anime that, like, the arc is ending. We can't worry about this yet, but...
Well, okay, there's a couple but to be fair, even if Lugosi heard the second that he was able to go do it, the last interaction he had with Louis was Louis refusing to go save the girl that he knows they both love. So, like, right there, fuck that guy, man. I mean, he's on his own. He's probably just fucking some other slut out there, piece of shit.
Though it's just like, for him to go missing so soon after Haru seems like, well, it's probably related in some way. I mean, you did fight him.
I think he even says it's probably related. Yeah, if I remember.
Yeah.
I just think, well, I mean, obviously, again, from a dramatic standpoint, it's just like it would be in the way to be too worried about that while we're trying to resolve this other arc. But
very true.
It did leave me a little head scratchy, but nonetheless, that's all I have to say.
If
about
I remember
these
correctly,
episodes,
well, I was just gonna say about that. I believe that there's a scene where we see Lugosi bandaged up like the next day or a couple days later, and like someone mentions that Louis disappeared, which I think implies right then and there that like Lugosi wasn't aware until this other member of the drama club like told him some amount of time later. So just as another narrative thing, I guess that seemed to imply he didn't even know. And couldn't have go found him even if he wanted
was
to.
that? I don't remember
Maybe I was
him
wrong.
like being told. I remember that somebody's reading a newspaper that says that he's missing.
I thought it was before that. You know what? I don't know. And
Maybe
frankly, whatever. It wasn't that important anyway.
Well, do you guys have parting thoughts or anything else you want to say on these last 3 episodes?
I will just say, good show. I can basically recommend it to anyone. It's, I'm not going to say that I like loved it. I would give it like probably like I feel like an asshole, but like probably like a strong 7. Maybe a light 8 because there were good characters, but I don't know. I liked a lot of it. The animation was good, but not like all the time. It wasn't super compelling except for some of the fights. And well, I'm looking forward to see more of what the characters do. I don't know. I guess their personalities aren't like instantly compelling. It feels very, it still feels very like K-drama paced to me, like or J-drama or whatever. And that we're hearing characters like thinking about each other in slow pans while they, think about what's the nature of my relationship with so and so, and gonna go hang out with my friends and think about stuff. When will the next event happen? I don't know. So I'm saying it in an inelegant way. What I'm trying to say is that like I liked everything I saw. But in terms of like density of events, I suppose I would be wanting a bit more, and I kind of hope that with the next season things escalate. I think the school setting kind of holds things back a little bit, and I would like to see the narrative evolve as maybe they graduate, go on to do more of the kind of like high level stuff we saw at the end of the season here, and I don't know, and just do more of the best stuff. In a denser format and give us more of the good stuff as fast as possible. Yeah, okay. That's it.
Tom, you want to share your final thoughts on the season?
Everything Nate said was dumb and gay.
Okay,
it's like it's a strong 8. It's fucking great. Go watch it.
I'm not
if
that
you like
far
it, read the manga. It just gets better.
I am tempted to read the manga.
Continues to get bigger. It's fucking sick as shit. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Go. It's fucking great.
Right. I'm gonna give it a very like a solid 8. I would say very solidly in that category. No light or what's strong, just right there. It's an 8, and the reasons are that In terms of presentation, it's like the show, I mean, first of all, consistent all the way through. I never felt like it was ugly or like an episode like took a major hit. All the scenes that needed to pop did. There's tons of inventiveness, tons of experimentation. As far as 3D shows goes, it's one of the best looking 3D TV anime for sure. There are design elements that were weird or just like hard to get over. So when sometimes when animals are looking straight into the camera and talking, it's almost always hilarious. But you know, overall the show looks great. It feels great. The characters, they're not the most original, but they're well fleshed out. The sexual dynamics are taken a lot farther than they are in most anime. You know, I think there are a lot of what you detect as like J-drama, K-drama. I detect as more just like shoujo general elements.
Sure.
I think it's a lot of it just has to do with the fact that this, you know, you can kind of tell it's written by a woman at certain times, I guess is what I'd say.
I feel that. You
know, I thought that all the melodrama and everything was okay. Again, it's nothing like world-shatteringly new, but the use of animal characters allows them to comment on so many more different things or to give applicability. Like even just one situation could apply to tons of different things that you could relate to as a human being. I think using animal characters was a genius move. The way this world was built allowed for, you know, all this subtext. So all of that made it really you know, almost like a greater than the sum of its parts kind of thing. Like, you know, the individual episodes could be either decent or really great, but the overall package felt well thought out and just intriguing. And the fact that the plot is really unpredictable is a huge plus. I mean, this first season, I never knew where the fuck it was going. Every time we watched another chunk of episodes, it veered in directions I didn't expect. You know, I can't help but imagine from what people have said about the manga that it will go even crazier in that way. So I would say this season, 8 out of 10, very high hopes that it could exceed that in the future, both in the anime and from what I've heard of the manga, it only gets better. So I'd probably give that an even higher score.
I just want to say my favorite thing about it overall is that like once we got to the revelation episode like 5 or 6 or whatever, that like if in the real world you found out there was like a market that either did human trafficking or even like potentially like cannibalism, like eating of humans or something, obviously that would be like nightmarish and like we'd freak out. But like the fact that it's an animal world and there is like a meat flesh market, it actually is kind of more reasonable considering the world that they live in, and the fact that that's handled with some like delicateness and moral complexity and not just like totally condemned as like bad, obviously evil in every capacity. I just find really interesting, and I appreciate that they handle it with more care and not just like a knee jerk like it's all bad, we need to shut it down, like this is the evil of the world. The fact that like these animals have needs, it's really cool.
That's really good about using the animal characters and being able to bring things like this. Like all of the weird things on like the social issues that they discuss in the show, you can look at them and like try and find like metaphors or analogous things in the real world. But like in the context of the show, they're not like trying to throw an agenda of like this is clearly an allegory for this. Right. It's like it's just treated in the universe as like
I like that
just
like
straight as what it is, and the implications are just for that specific situation.
I think this is a story that's not trying to moralize in any way, and if anything, I think the use of the animal characters and their sort of more extreme morality allows us to reflect on human morality with a lens that we can really like look at some of the darker or more difficult to talk about aspects of human nature and say like, well, you know, for like we wouldn't even question it if an animal felt this way. So here you go. You know, like they are animals. Now we don't question it. Now it makes sense and we can relate, even though these are, you know, maybe things about ourselves that we would be afraid of, you know? So like, I think that's a really powerful thing that this show kind of offers in that metaphor. It's well done, man.
So my final thought is good show. I'd rate it slightly above Zootopia 1. Zootopia 2 was slightly better. It was good.
Zootopia 2?
Yeah. This show.
All right.
That's it. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. That's this episode of KHANTEHNT. Thanks for being here.
KHANTEHNT!
Yes, thank you. We'll be back with more episodes soon. Do you know what we're doing next, Digi? I don't.
Okay, I have not, because of the fact that the season just ended.
Oh yeah.
We're a little bit in disarray. But what we are planning to do is for the new season. I'm thinking what we might just do it every week, all month. Do a podcast every weekend on another group of shows, because there's a ton of fucking shows. And we were talking about doing the Weebcast style. We're gonna watch everything, at least for the first episode, talk about it in these podcasts. So I don't know. We could talk about it more, whether we're gonna do one or two or multiple. But we're definitely gonna be talking about the new shows, and from that we will determine what we watch this season.
Sounds like a great plan.
Our method is 4 episodes at a time, basically. We try to do 1 video a month per show, though because of the fact that, obviously, if you cover one show one week and then you cover another show the next week, then that show will have advanced by another episode. So that's why the episode counts can be weird in places. But nonetheless, our goal is cover current shows in episode groups. We'll determine which shows we'll cover through the podcast. So look forward to all that. Stick around on the channel and see what we got in store on the KHANTEHNT.
KHANTEHNT. See you then. Bye.